And welcome back to The Price of Business. This is Sigmund. That's right, the producer taking over the reins here for a minute. I've got Alan Paine from the Rich Club. Alan, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's always more fun when the boss isn't here.
That's right. When the wardens away, the inmates play, right?
We play a lot. It's fun.
So, listen, we've got a special guest. By the way, Alan, you're with the Rich Club. Tell everybody about Rich Club.
Rich Club, that's the richclub.org. We're the Realty Investment Club of Houston. We help people become investors in real estate. We teach them to become millionaires is what we try to do.
That's what you're aiming at, and aiming high and hitting the mark.
Yes,
well, who's your guest today?
Today I have a very special guest here. It's Peter Fortunato. Peter's been doing this a long time, and I'm just going to let him introduce himself. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, a long, long time ago in 1965, I found myself in high school and couldn't wait to get out. Very, very unhappy having people telling me what to do. And when the guidance counselor back in those old days says, what do you want to do when you get out of school? I said, I want to be unemployed. And that got everybody really riled up, and I explained to them that I wanted to be comfortably unemployed, which means I wanted to have enough assets so that I could turn over the job of producing enough income for me to live to the assets. And when I got out of high school, I became a real estate agent. It took me 10 years as a real estate agent to acquire and control enough real estate to replace me as a breadwinner. And so 10 years after I got out of high school, I was able to retire and let my assets provide my lifestyle rather than my labor and my time produce my lifestyle.
I can imagine I could hear my father's voice right now if I said, Dad, I'm going to be unemployed.
Yeah, well, and interestingly enough, my son in 1995 came to me and said, Dad, I want to be unemployed just like you, but I want to do it by flipping houses rather than by being a real estate agent.
That's not
unemployed. It doesn't really matter how. It just matters that you see a way to do it and take responsibility and go construct the future that you want.
That's great. Now, Peter, tell us a couple of things. First off, Peter's going to be with us on the 15th and 16th of November. That's 2 weeks away, and Peter's going to have a lot of stuff to talk about here. Peter, tell us a little bit about some of the subject matters you may touch on.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about building a future and building a portfolio, building transactions, constructing transactions you can actually close. And I'm going to talk about the fact that it's not about the national real estate market. It's not about macroeconomics. It's about microeconomics. And not only is the Houston market different than the national market, but it's different and smaller than the Texas market. And then I'm going to talk about the fact that the market in the neighborhood you're dealing with is smaller and more micro than is the Houston and then the neighborhood market. And then I'm going to talk about the neighborhood that you're dealing with is smaller and more specific. And then the people are smaller and more micro and more involved with you. And you have a chance to make a deal with them because you care enough about them, or hopefully you care enough about them to discover what it is that's making them uncomfortable. And the biggest thing that impacts real estate is the people dealing with other people. And Warren Harding, who was one of my mentors, told me that all opportunities are born of uncomfortable circumstances of ownership. And I know what my goals are, but my first and most important job when I find an opportunity, when I discover an opportunity, is to discover what it is that's making those people uncomfortable and what it is that they seek. The first transaction I ever did for myself was a couple that I'd sold the house to as a real estate agent just a year earlier. And when they came to see me and said, we need to sell that house, my first question was, well, why would you sell a nice house like this? And they explained that they had been offered a big, big step forward in the career field that the man was in. And it was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And the house that they had, which was a beautiful house in a great neighborhood, was in Beverly, Massachusetts. And having a house 1,400 miles from your job was indeed inconvenient. And they needed to escape that house, which had gone from being a wonderful asset.
Peter, this is only a 7-minute segment, so we've got just a few more minutes here. So we need to go quicker. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, Peter, but you are a transaction engineer. You walk in, basically, is what I'm hearing, and you basically have a toolbox that's so huge. I don't know how you move around with it in your head.
I have a palette. Think of it more as a palette and some paints and some paintbrushes rather than a toolbox.
You're Michelangelo, is who you are.
Well, I'm strange, is who I am. Yes.
Well, that's a great way to be, because you really do think so creatively. I've had one of our members he's gone to 3 different one of your talks in the last year, and I asked him on Saturday in front of our group. I said, "Have you ever heard Peter talk about the same stuff twice?" And he goes, "No, Peter doesn't. He it's all different every time you hear him," and that's a testament to how great you are, sir.
Well, that's because the people you're dealing with are different, so they have different needs and different uses and different enjoyments and different costs, and you got to care about the people.
Yeah, that's exactly. And see, what I like about that is there's people who think that as real estate investors, we go in and take advantage of people, and that's not what we do at all. We go in there and solve people's problems.
Well, what happens, you got to realize, as a capitalist or an entrepreneur, you're successful because you give people better than you take from people.
Yes.
Because it's not ever a coercive situation. They won't close unless they like what you're giving them better than they like what they're giving you.
Right.
That's always the case. That's 100% of the time. As a capitalist, as an entrepreneur, you give more than you take from the other people. Okay,
that's great. I mean, it really is. Peter, we're going to have to wrap this up real quick. Peter, do you have a way that people can contact you, like a website or something?
Well, PeterFortunato.com has just where I'm going to be and when. PeterFortunato@me.com is the way people email me and picking up a telephone and calling. As long as you're calling about real estate, not something silly and social, I'm happy to talk to you.
Great.
Uh-oh. That sounds great, Peter. Peter, this is Alan Paine with the Rich Club. It's richclub.org. Please come and see us this next Saturday, November 15th and 16th. The Saturday after this, 15th and 16th. That starts at 9 o'clock, and it's over at 5 o'clock. It is full day of content. So look forward to seeing you.
It'll be a couple of days of content.
That's 2 days of content, yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Peter Fortunato, and thanks, Alan Paine. This is Sigmund Kramer stepping in, and we're going to be right back in just a minute right here on The Price of Business.